video game exclusive, something generally done to convince you to why you should buy one company's console over the other because hey, this game is only playable on this console, so when I play that game. But it seems like nowadays it's become more and more kind of I don't want to say taboo, but discouraged, especially when companies keep spending more and more money on games to recoup costs, and they have no one to blame but themselves for that one. So some people don't like the idea of exclusives, especially since more and more people, or companies say, are generally putting their exclusives on their platforms, whether it be on a planned delay, or even day one multi-console release. So one of those things where exclusives are generally both looked down upon, but without them, what do consoles have? Like, let me go into this. Like, obviously, console manufacturers are going to want their first-party titles to be only on their system, and also helps the fact that first-party titles are only made by the people who should know the hardware the most. The people that hopefully help build and decide the hardware to know how to use the console's abilities the most and get the most out of it. But even nowadays, we generally see companies like Sony and Microsoft putting their first-party titles on platforms like PC. It's kind of like how people don't really feel much of a reason to get an Xbox because, oh, the Xbox titles go to PC, and now Sony's doing a similar thing, but after a certain amount of time, so there is also the time difference for why you may want to get the console first because, hey, that's like you're dodging spoilers, which is a long time to be dodging spoilers. So there is still an incentive to get like a PS5 or something, but when it comes to the ability of the consoles nowadays don't really have much of a difference between each other to really differentiate why you should pick one or the other. I think about older consoles, like the PS1, UCDs, which were better for game developers to include more space on it. Granted, the PS1 doing it as graphically powerful as 64, but cartridges are expensive and couldn't hold much data, so it was incentive versus either or. Or when the original Xbox came in, it's like, hey, this is more powerful hardware than the GameCube or PS2, and it also has, I want to say perfectly robust, but more robust in the comparison, online ability with Xbox Live, as opposed to the PS2, which one of the main things that's also a DVD player. So the sense of being like, I could buy this Xbox, this GameCube, but this PS2 also plays DVD. I can play movies and TV shows as well. That's an added sense that only back then the PS2 could generally do. It added more value to the console, opposed to the GameCube. All the GameCube had was pain and suffering. So nowadays, because like the PS4 and Xbox One, consoles just became very much identical to each other. Like, Nintendo will try something different, let's say with the Wii U and the Wii U gamepad and all that, but it's one of those issues where consoles can come out with a feature, and then no company ever actually uses the feature because they feel it's kind of pointless to add anything. The Wii U gamepad, many companies just try to ignore it or give it the most generic feature because they don't really care for making a system feature for it, kind of thing. Just like how the PS4 has had like, oh, we got Dualshock 4, we got microphone and the controller, oh, we got speakers and all that, look at all these features, great. No one really did jack shit to the Dualshock 4. As thing happened with DualSense. Oh, look at the touchpad, oh, we got microphone now actually for speaking built in, we got adaptive triggers, we got all this stuff. No one's doing shit with it. So it pretty much makes it more on par with the Xbox in terms of what I can really do. Look at the Nintendo Switch, one of the most highly beloved video game consoles ever. Is it a console that plays games portably, or is it a portable device that plays games at home? Ooh, that's a mystery. Interesting. Like, even with the GameStop, just telling people the concept of the Switch was like, ooh, that is amazing. Like, just like idea is super cool. But in reality, the Switch is basically just as much of a home console as the others because, aside from the fact that, oh, it's also portable. Okay, what else can it do? Don't ever use the features of the actual Joy-Cons because the Joy-Cons suck. Like, all the features of the Joy-Cons are supposed to be able to do, and think about how companies don't even use them anymore. Like, even when games only use the Joy-Con, let's say the ones with the Final Remix, people hated the fact they could only use the Joy-Cons for that game, despite the fact that's how the game was built. Or how Skyward Sword HD, they could have just made it a Joy-Con only game, but instead they decided to opt for using a gamepad controller support, and many people actually prefer that control scheme to just using the Joy-Cons compared to the original Wii version. So it's kind of one of those things where, once again, they have the features of the console, but nobody uses it. The main gimmick of the console is it's also portable. It's like, okay, does that really do anything or change the games themselves? Not really, other than hardware-wise, it's gonna be hard to make, affordable hardware that can also be portable on a console at the same time, which is why it kind of lags behind in power and has issues technical-wise, but also why companies that make their own specific versions of games, which also costs more money for companies to do to want to port the games as well, so it causes like a more logistical nightmare, but that's what's popular, so people try to think it's worth it, but like, doesn't really do anything really unique. Like, compare the Switch to games that have to be specifically designed for a handheld platform like the PSP or the PS Vita or the DS or 3DS. You can see a difference in how the games were designed and made, especially on the DS or 3DS and the Vita, once I take into account their unique console gimmicks. But when it comes to the Switch, it's just a home console on the go. So there's not really any sort of actual difference between handheld things. I see people try to say, we don't need handheld devices anymore because the Switch basically does that. But like, no, it's kind of the Switch is basically the equivalent of like how some PSP games would also come out on PS2. It's basically the equivalent of that. There's no real difference between the games at all. But hey, two versions of the games, I guess. So one's portable, okay. Kind of like how, for example, there are some PSP games that got ported to PS2. People say, you gotta play it on PSP. The PSP version is the better one. It's like, no, it's kind of just the idea that probably you kind of, defend the limitations of the game if it's on the PSP as opposed to it's on the PS2 where any issues seen as you should be having this. It's kind of like how people see Pokemon, where Pokemon's always been by GameFreak a handheld, freaking franchise, so people kind of now expect more for Pokemon because it's on a console, but GameFreak has been making handheld Pokemon games, so I don't know why you expect it better. Like, y'all look at GameFreak and think, yes, you can make a game on the quality of Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. No, they ain't. They're making handheld games to this day to switch to a handheld console. Back on topic, I've seen people try to say that, I prefer PlayStation not for the exclusives, but because the PlayStation brand is so real good. Yeah, the brand is the exclusives. What do you mean? What else is there to the PlayStation if not for the exclusives? It's like for any company, their brand is the stuff they make, the stuff they own and make. Nintendo's brand is their exclusives. It's just characters that they're known for, a franchise known for. Without those, what do you really have left? Like, without first-party titles, not buying a PlayStation for first-party titles, what else is there really left? Like, at all compared to like Xbox or Switch. It's a Switch is portable, but then again, you also have nowadays like the Steam Deck, where you don't care for Nintendo IPs. Well, then you can just get a Steam Deck, which has also probably a wider library that probably functions better on the Steam Deck. It's kind of one of those things where if you buy a Switch, odds are you're doing it because you also enjoy the Nintendo IPs themselves. Because otherwise, just buying not so powerful hardware that's portable, but you also have better options out there as well. It's kind of one of those things where, like, what else does PlayStation? What can a PlayStation 5 really do and the Xbox Series can't, other than being kneecapped by the Xbox Series S? I gotta dig in there. But yeah, it's one of those things where, like, what is there left? Don't ever answer that question. Just say, I'm in it for the brand. Okay, what is PlayStation brand, not for exclusives? And they just go silent. And it's like, oh, okay. Then you have the exclusives that are third-party titles that just get signed on to be exclusive. And that's the one that's like, okay, I understand people's frustration 100%. When a game that could easily go third-party multi-platform day one does it because the company went, hey, let's make me a deal. You put this on my console for like a year or two, then you get to use some money, but only fans of your company want to come to me specifically. I don't know why I did that voice. Why do I keep doing this? But you get the idea that game that could go on multi-platform from day one can't. Like, I understand it was like, the publisher helped fund the game. Let's say Xenoblade, which Xenoblade is on my shift up, but Sony did help fund the game to make it bigger than what's originally intended to be. So you can say, like, okay, that being that being exclusive, that makes sense. Xenoblade still get a PC port down the road. Final Fantasy VII Remake, that big push exclusive was some bullshit, and y'all know it. The fact that could not be put on any other system for over a year, and then the double kicker, which was being exclusive to Epic Game Store, also for over a year, is like, damn, y'all really hurting for that cash. I heard the cash ain't even worth it. So that I understand that sucks. Like, we live in a day and age where people, assuming Xbox fans, feel like they need companies bought by Xbox won't even get titles on their consoles, whether it be the companies have no interest in putting the games on the Xbox, or Sony be going, yo, well, give me that cash, and you put it on our console for a year, since why people buying your console. It was like one of those things like, yeah, I understand their frustrations on what to ask, but the fact that the Xbox had to wait the longest in order to get the Final Fantasy Pixel remaster after mobile PC already had it, after PS4 and Switch already had it, that is some grade A bullshit. I feel bad for Xbox fans in that regard. Speaking of Epic Games Store, let's get back about that, where Epic will just pay for exclusives in order to make their store seem more exciting when it's really not. At least back in the day, store just lacked so many features and some abilities. Even nowadays, look at my friends even try out playing Fortnite. He came across a bug that's apparently a known bug with the store, and had to find some workaround in order to get this thing to even function to begin with, which is still baffling. Some people try to defend it, being like, oh, but just it's a different launcher on your PC. That's a problem. One, I shouldn't need multiple launchers on my PC. Guess what? People complain about the Ubisoft launcher, EA launcher, the Blizzard launcher for fucking years. And two, imagine going on your PS5, not being able to buy something on PSN, and you gotta make an account for, let's say, Glorb. You gotta make a Glorb account, and then give Glorb your whole identity account and everything, and then also the fact that your game is on the Glorb and not on the PSN. Like, it would be ridiculous and unnecessary, but that's an Epic Games Store, whole entire problem. And the difference is Epic Games Store to be up their own ass by saying, we're trying to make a better industry. One, no you're not. Your whole thing is just buy exclusives and hoping people go to you instead of Steam. And guess what? It's the idea that Epic going, you either come to us or nothing. And the stats have shown a lot of people will unironically choose nothing. Like when Kingdom Hearts came to PC, it was Epic Games Store exclusive for years. When it finally came to Steam, people acted like it was the first time it came to PC, even though it wasn't. You even got a special trailer for coming out on Steam. That's the kind of thing where people would rather avoid Epic Games Store than actually use it. Even though Epic Games Store does have its own benefits, at least for developers, we get more money for your games using their engine, getting exclusive on their platform, or the fact that the game Hades got the Epic Games Store money, then also got early access funds on when we go to Steam for early access, and then it came out and people were like, oh, big cool game. Like, people don't even know about the fact that it was originally Epic Games Store exclusive for a while. So it does benefit developers. It does help a lot. Even when people are not talking about the game entirely, people just be like, with a year actual launch. You'd be like, I think Pirate Software put it best, where potentially it can be seen as, hey, exclusives are good because you basically get a year of bug testing on the platform that you're on and get to release it. People see that as the real release of the game. So it can be good for developers in that sense, but if you're a consumer, it just kind of pisses them off and annoys them entirely. Yeah, exclusives are just one big paradox where it's like, on one hand, a console needs them, otherwise, why even bother getting a console? But exclusives are also a trapping where kind of just also frustrates people. Developers need more and more money. They're gonna spend more and more money on their games. It's like you need more and more people buying the game on that console, which is why it's like, oh, we need more people buy the console. Oh, let's go make a deal with this company, that and that. Whole entire thing. It's like nowadays, there's the whole entire PS5 has no games joke, which is like, yes, a joke about the fact that PS5 doesn't have many exclusives because either it's third-party games that go multi-platform, or it's first-party games and then go to PC. It's kind of one of those things where it's like, yeah, you need the money to only get the games on PC, because, yeah, you need more money for the whole entire company, but it also means there's less reason to have the console itself, which creates a whole entire problem. And Nintendo IPs don't go anywhere else. They stay on Nintendo consoles, which some people are still mad about, so some people act as if it's some weird praise. That's like a Monolith Soft fans, for example. Like, those people take huge pride that Monolith Soft is able to make such massive games on such lower end hardware. But then those are the same people who will demand a port of their games to a more powerful system just because they feel like those games can't truly flourish unless on a more powerful platform. Monolith Soft fans are very fucking weird. Don't interact with them. So it's kind of one of those things where even fans of an IP exclusive can be like, yeah, we feel like this could be better if we're on a different platform, you know? So it's one of those things where it's like, companies need exclusive, then consumers also need exclusives, because it gives them a reason to buy the console, but the exclusives are also, at this point, just harming everybody. If the cost of games keep going up and up and up in production and need more money, then having an exclusive is more and more just the companies hurting themselves, and also audiences hurting themselves, because at that point, what, it's gonna be must be like, I want it only on my system, so that way no one else can play it, so I can feel good that I bought this $400 box, the next $400 box, or that $200 box, or that $1,000 box. Like, there's also that weird aspect. People take weird pride in a game only being on their platform. It's like, great. How does that pride help you in the slightest? How does that make you any happier? I don't understand that kind of mentality of I feel better because this game is on my platform. You're a bit dumber once a third-party game. Oh yes, Final Fantasy belongs on PlayStation. The franchise that started on the Nintendo Entertainment System. You know, that kind of one-time weird logic thing where people act as if they're now superior for that. Or you have people who, okay, this one games will not be exclusive anymore, but it's kind of way people just shout at developers going, hey, yo, you better put your game on my platform or screw you! Like that. That one type of mentality, like, especially when it happened when people wanted Persona 3, 4, and 5, and not 1 and 2 because y'all suck. Come on, get all the games, not just some of them, all the games on the platforms. People were like just bombarding Atlus ridiculously. And it was a movement that started out, you know, calmly and nice, like freaking. They started with like Fidel Games Cage, where he was just like being nice about it, being simple requests, but then people twisted his message and turned it into a giant, hey yo, Atlus, screw you! I remember when people got mad at Persona 4 Golden got challenged on the PC and went, why would you put it on PC and not the Switch? Or when Persona 5 got originally announced, got originally ported, announcement being on Xbox and went, they're gonna put on the Xbox and not the Switch? Switch fans are very entitled, I think they're very superior to everybody else. I'm just not realizing this. But the whole time weird aspect, or when Nier Automata music came out, got an announcement going, it's going to Xbox One. People are like, why would you put on the Xbox and not the Switch? Man, Switch fans really are an example of everything I think about it. But yeah, just weird paradoxical nature of companies need exclusive, consumers think they don't need exclusives, but without the exclusives, what reason they had to really buy one console or the other, kind of thing. So it's one of those weird aspects where we need them, but it's also harming at the same time. You need them, but it's harming you. You need this, but it's also making things worse for everybody in the process. But I just feel like exclusives won't die this day and age, especially nowadays when these companies need more and more reasons for people to buy the whole entire games, to buy their platforms specifically. So I feel that just won't die out. Although Square Enix did say that they want to focus more on multi-platform releases, or because I feel like the money they're getting from Sony exclusive isn't really helping enough. So it's one of those things where there's some companies that are trying to make a change in that aspect. Whether or not they stick to it, it's a completely different reason. Let's see how much money Sony will be offering them. I'm just going to mention this one term weird dynamic now, where more and more people keep wanting bigger companies to buy other companies for some reason, thinking someone made things better. Like, again, Xbox fans, I can see they're desperate because so many companies just ignore their platforms, including Japanese companies. So them being like, Microsoft needs to buy Sega, which will get them Atlus, which will get them Vanillaware, let's need to buy Koei Tecmo, so we can get Gust, we can get Atelier games on the Xbox, stuff like that. That is like, that's just them being incredibly desperate because they literally have nothing else to watch on their console and just want more games on it, just want more Japanese games typically on the platform. And you have like PlayStation fans who are like, no, PlayStation needs to buy Square Enix. Why? You already have the exclusivity deals, and not if the games will go to your platform. No, because Square Enix belongs on PlayStation. No, they don't. At all? What are you talking about? Who are you? Or even like freaking, to this day, Nintendo needs to buy Rare from Microsoft. No? Also, Rareware nowadays is very different from Rareware of the 90s, so why? Because IPs like Banjo-Kazooie belong on Nintendo. Listen, just because Microsoft hasn't done much with it doesn't necessarily mean it belongs on Nintendo at all. No! Nintendo needs to own all these companies. I need all the games on my platform of choice. I need all this. Like, don't want to aspect people more and more the idea that companies need to be bought. It's like, why? Especially when they're third-party companies, they already put their games on other platforms. Like, we got Gothico Studios already put Yakuza / Like a Dragon on all social platforms. Why do we need to get bought by anyone? Atlus already puts marketing deals with Xbox for Persona. Why does Xbox need to suddenly buy Atlus for more Persona? You already have the literally marketing deal with the custom Persona and also Metaphor as well. I remember people said that Metaphor would do worse because they took a marketing deal with Xbox. And they saw a million copies on the first day. Screw you, people! But yeah, one of those things where people feel like, nah, you're making deals with the wrong company. It's like, what? Huh? And back in the day, people got pissed that Square Enix took a marketing deal with Microsoft for 2013. People were like, they're betraying PlayStation, making this marketing deal with Xbox. It seems like the company that jumped ship from Nintendo to the PlayStation to begin with. Shut up! The whole time thing, people just say, don't bring up that facts. So when we ask for people to want more and more companies to be buying each other, it's like, why? Why do you want more exclusive for platforms for all this when it's just third party? Well, what are these people who now just despise the concept of third party titles?